Welcome to another edition of Vintage Restorer. I'm going to carry on this time with the slightly different project on the Fordson Roadless, standard Roadless, which is in the garage. Putting the lighting kit basically back onto it. So when I bought it, it had the headlamps here, although it has the normal lenses, which I've now taken off. It had the normal lenses on the back of the original Butler headlamps. Other than that, everything else was missing. So headlamp brackets came with it, backs and the normal lenses came with the lights. So since then, I've managed to find a set of these, which are Butler War Department, and I don't know what that bit stands for, but I bet someone will know. But these cowled headlamps, because a lot of these machines, if not all of them, I don't really know the exact history, were sold originally to the RAF for work on airfields. But being it's a wartime one, 1941, this one dates from, this tractor, I've got a set of these to go on the front, so a bit more in keeping with the history. So these are cowled headlamps, but they've got this additional piece here. So the normal lighting, I suppose under wartime conditions when you don't want to be seen, the slit of light comes out here, but it can't be seen from above because you've got the cowl. You've seen a lot of those before in cars and other vehicles and different designs, but this one has this function. So when you want to use it normally, you clip that up into there, so the guard stays up there, and then you've got this normal lens section, so the headlamp actually works like a normal headlamp, and you get a lot more light out of it. And it has a clip up inside, if you can see it, a clip up inside there just to hold that from vibration, push it up, get your finger in there, get it caught, and then it comes on down like that. So there's two of those, managed to find both of them. They were on eBay. This one's the same, just have to shut it down. So there's a little clip there that needs to go in. I'm not that size, so I can't do it. So anyway, the Fordson, based on a standard industrial N, so that's where the lighting kit kind of comes from. And as you see here, it's got an industrial dashboard with the extra hole there for the throttle lever, and more importantly to me, that ammeter hole, which we're going to fill up later on with an ammeter. But as all industrials were, as I think, don't quote me on this and don't shoot me down, were petrols, this has at some point been converted back to kerosene when it went back into civilian life, when it was sold on. So we've had the vaporizer put back on like a normal standard, and the oil bath air cleaner, which is where the battery would have originally sat for the lighting system. So we can't put the battery on it, and maybe that's why it's not on there anymore, but all I wanted to do is put it back. So the battery I'm actually going to put and build and put back into there, because there's plenty of room, and I can put like a little 12 volt battery back into there. Original systems I think were 6 volt, but this is 12 volt. So the bracket, which I managed to find for the dynamo, is there underneath the water pump. That's an original genuine bracket. I'm having 4 more of those cast because they're very rare, so if anybody wants one, then you can comment on the section below and I'll sell you one. But yeah, see the bracket there, so 2 bolt fixing into the water pump, and it holds the dynamo. This is the dynamo, Ford Model A. There's the fixing which goes on there, you'll see that in a minute in the next little clip that I'll do, but I did want to just show you this. So this is an early dynamo. These are Ford Model A dynamos, and that's what they use. A lot of this lighting kit in the research is Ford Model A, which was available at the time. But this is a dynamo, so not like the dynamos that are self-excited, regulator controlled, sorry, that you'll get on the 60s, 50s tractors with the regulator box. This is a self-exciting dynamo, which needs to get up to speed, and then the magnets come alive inside, and then you've got this device on the top, which is a voltage cutoff. Now this is 12 volt, like I say, the rest of the systems I think on these were 6 volt. So this is a 12 volt system. So you've got this voltage cutoff here. And what it's designed to do is when you've got the battery connected and you've got it charging, or you want to get it charging, if the engine isn't turning over fast enough to drive the dynamo fast enough to generate electricity, what you don't want to do is the dynamo become a electric motor effectively. So if the voltage drops below 12 volts, the little contacts here open up like they are at the moment, and break the circuit. As the tractor speeds up, or you pick the revs up into its working rev range, it will click shut like that, and then the dynamo is producing 13-14 volts to charge the 12-volt battery. Bear in mind, this is from a car, so it's 12 volt. It must be a later one, it's a 12 volt system, but usually these would be a 6 volt. But for this purpose, we just change the bulbs and it will work exactly the same. So when that closes, that's it. So I can demonstrate this if I spin it up with a drill. If you watch, when I get it up to speed, it will shut. And that's how it works. So the pulley here is also a exact copy. I was lent one, sent it off to have a pattern made, and a friend of mine cast me 4 of these, this being one of them. I have 4 of them. This one, as you can see, has got the fan blades machined off, because this is a sealed dynamo, so no air can be drawn through it to cool it down or anything like that. No dust can get in there, so it keeps it slightly cleaner inside and keeps the brushes and the commutator clean and away from wear. But to clear the bolt fixings in the end here on this type with the which is closed, I machined the fan blades off. But the other 3 have still got their fan blades on. So if you want to purchase one of those pulleys, which are exactly the right ones, that were fitted on the Fordson standard lighting kits, then drop us a note in the comments below. Right, let's get this mounted up. So the next part, what we're going to do is change the belt. So it's a fan belt which drives the water pump. It's a water pump stroke sister. There's the impeller on the back of it there, so it drives the fan, comes direct from the crankshaft pulley down there. To get the belt out, you have to take the starting handle forwards, and now to do that you need to take this pin out, which is the one that engages in the front of the crankshaft pulley for when you pull up and push in. That's what goes in and engages it, and that's just held in place by that little pin. Now, because we're adding an extra pulley to go around, i.e. the dynamo, you see I put the cover back on the voltage regulator. We go from this belt, which is that big, to this belt, which is that big. So a bit more in the length there, so it can go out and go around the dynamo. So that's what we're going to do next. We'll change that, put that belt in on the fan, and then we'll go around and put the dynamo on as well, and we'll do a loose assembly. This is all just a loose build, by the way. I'm going to have to strip this back down again because it's going to have to be resprayed. Pump tractor's been repainted after this is done, but we've got to do the wiring loom, which is what I'll come to next, to show you where it came from, where it fits, and the adaptations that we have to do to it to make it work, from being mounted on the Ford Model A like everything else, in addition with the light switch, and go from there. So I fitted the dynamo, and he sits there. Now, I haven't got the right belt. I did get a Fordson E27N belt for the tractors that have the same basic engine block. It's a different dynamo mount, it's a pressed steel one and a smaller pulley, but the C47 221450 belt is not long enough, so I'm going to have to get a slightly longer belt to go around and go over the dynamo, but that's where it sits, just up in there. So the next part I need to fit and do the centres and drill the bolts out is this. So this is the light switch, or part of it. It's not got the internals inside there because the wiring loom would come out through this back hole here. But that is a Ford Model A switch body, and that would in a car go at the bottom of the steering column and sit down like that. So it also has the horn function in there, which we don't use on this. But yeah, that's what it is. That's a replica one, what you do is you've got a switch module, which I'll show you. I'll just grab it a bit easier. So this is not all of it, but so this is a Ford Model A wiring diagram. I'm saying wiring loom, and it's basically this round section. You undo this at the back here, which is a quarter-turn bayonet fitting. That goes in the bottom. You've got a notch here, so you can't get it the wrong way around. That's the horn button in the middle, but we're not going to use that because it doesn't have a horn. And it sits inside like that, because there's the indent in there, and it sits inside. And then the contacts are inside here, which go on those contact faces. And then all the wires coming out the bum bit of it here, that's where they all come out. So that's the wiring loom. Now this is a Ford Model A wiring loom, and I keep on saying to you, it needs some adaptation to be able to fit here. It has the headlamps on it, which I don't believe, no, that's the, yeah, it's the headlamps here. So these wires here, which go up into the headlamps, and there's the other one for the other side. That's the wire which goes onto the dynamo, and then off down to the battery via those leads. Anyway, we'll go through that in a bit. So that is the wiring loom. It needs, like I say, a little bit of modification. You have to put some of the terminals in different positions for it to work, but you can see if you look up in there, that is the rotating assembly. Focus. It's not going to, is it? Oh, yeah, there you go. There's the rotating assembly inside there, and those three dimples meet up with the contacts I've just shown you. Now this is another part of the system, castings, which go on this. This one has been machined to accept the switch body, which normally wouldn't go in there. It would go on some part of the steering column. But there is a little detent at the top. Can you see it there? A little detent. So that's also been machined. It's like a little keyway. Stops it rotating when you turn the switch. There's a fork assembly and a spring which also goes in there, which drives the switch, which has three positions: charge, headlamps and rear lamps, I think, on this, or rear lamp on this, which is the way it's going to be. This spring is a reproduction one, but had to be modified to hold the switch body in like it would do on the original parts. Like I say, you can't get any of these bits, and I was sold this part, which is a new casting, which is the light switch holder, and that goes up underneath the header tank. Wait a sec, I'll get around the other side. I should really take the other side out of the way, but so your dynamo's sitting there, and then we've got, put this down, turn the light on, you'll be able to see. Hold on a sec. Underneath here are those two holes, here and here, and they are 5/16 UNC, I do believe. And that bracket, so I've got to measure the centres, holds the light switch in here like that. So I'm trying to film and hold that in a better way for you. Push the dynamo down a bit. There, his normal position. There's the two holes. What I've got to do is just drill that out. So that light switch sits in there, tucks under there. Can you see it? Let's go from underneath. See it better like that. So this is about the most awkward tractor to do anything with. You can't get to anything because there's just tracks everywhere. You can see through there actually, that. But the light switch goes up underneath and goes into those holes there. Once that's in place, there's a long solid rod which goes all the way over the top of the engine and goes through that hole there and sticks out on the back of the dashboard, and that gives you a bit like the advancing retard lever on the dashboard, gives you three positions, just a simple click click click. Charging, no lights, headlamps and charging, headlamps and rear lamp, which goes down there, the little tiny button red lamp, which will go down on one of those bolts around the housing at the back there. But at the moment I'm concentrating on getting these headlamps working because there's quite a bit of modification to do to the wiring diagram. I keep saying diagram, wiring loom. Getting this thing all fitted up and clean the threads out underneath there, which I need to chase out with a thread tool. But that's where the dynamo goes, not quite there. He'll sit up a bit more than that. Nipped a bolt up so he can't move around. Dynamo usually sits about there, and that switch then sits in round behind it. All a bit tight, all a bit fiddly, and not very nice to work on. But that is where it sits, up in there, like that. Bolted up underneath the hand tank. Be easier when it's bolted, and I can show you then what it actually looks like.